There is always this question, how much muscle can I gain naturally? And the reason is simple. They are only asking this because the perception is skewed. If you go to Instagram, TikTok, you are going to see people preaching that I gained 50 kilograms of muscle in 2 years just by eating raw testicles or doing HIIT training. And you can too if you are following my training, what I've never done in my life, but that's what you are going to buy. There are undeniably bigger, stronger, aesthetically better looking people. But let me say this, if you get all the variables right, you can look exceptional, because a vast majority of people are looking like poop. How much muscle you can gain naturally throughout your lifting journey? That is the question. You should consider a few things, but let's just go with 3 because it's easier to grasp it for everybody, including myself. Many of you don't want to know the boring biology behind it, you just want to get jacked. But still listen, bone structure will ultimately decide the amount of muscle you can pack on your body 80% of the time. And this is not scientifically proven, this is just a number I pulled out right now. Because let's be honest, this is not exact science, but this is pretty easy to get. Someone with a bigger frame will put on more size and they're going to be bigger. But if we look at a real example, if you look at Jeff Nippard, Short King, he's looking jacked out of his mind. It's only because he's genetically more gifted, and that genetics includes his bones, at least his bone structure. So bigger bones, that's more surface for your muscle to attach. It's pretty simple to get it. And another factor is the insertions and the shape of your muscle. I just put these in one category because, let's be honest, they are only going to influence how you look aesthetically, if you please, how good you look like. Because if you grab a person who is like, he added 20 kg to his frame and you added 20 kg to your frame, but one has better muscle shape and insertions, he's still going to look way more impressive than you are. But for example, for a long time, people said that if you can stick 2 fingers where your biceps is attaching, then you're always going to have small biceps. But if you look at Arnold, he could easily fit in 2 or 3, I'm not sure now, but he looked like an absolute beast. So this is just one factor really. This is just going to give you the shape and the appearance, but nothing else. But if I'm being honest, I could have closed this whole section with one word: calves. You know. There's also a saying that you can't gain more than 25 kg muscle in your life. And this is the part what's genetic dependent, but you can change it by training. Because look at yourself, you can gain X amount of muscle just by training. So this is the part what you can change. And I believe that this moves on a range. So it's more like a 15 to 25 or maybe 35 kg. And for women, you just half it. That's usually the general idea. But there are also outliers, and these outliers, whenever you say this, people always think that, oh yeah, this is only going towards the end of the range, but not really. They're like non-responders who are going towards the beginning of this whole range. Whether you like it or not, there will be people who are going to respond to the training worse than others, and these people, these hard gainers, tend to have a more slender body. So even if you just look at them at first sight, you can tell that, yeah, this person is not going to be huge. It's not always the case though, but in most cases, you've never seen a hard gainer who was like 80 kg from the start. But let me give you another example. I trained a guy who was around 79 kg when we started training, and around 15% of body fat, and he could bench press 70 kg for 5 reps. Was he stable? No, he was shaking a bit, just like, a beginner. But it's 70 kg. For most people, beginners, it takes them a couple of years to get there. And if you look at this person, starting with 79, let's call it 80 kg as a starter, he adds 25 kg to his frame, it's 100 kg. Then if you compare it to someone, for example myself, who was 44 kg when I started, if I add 25 kg to my frame, that's only going to be 70 kg at best. Who is going to look bigger? A person who already started being bigger. And this is also the reason why comparing yourself to others is just dumb. You can still be in the top 10% aesthetic wise if you are doing your training right, your diet right, and you're doing it consistently for decades. Because let's be honest, majority of the people who go to the gym, they quit or they never get any of these right. That is why the average gym goers are not going to look great. And there are also people who are taking PD and they still don't get any of these things right and they just look like poop. To conclude this, I don't think you can ever reach your genetic ceiling. I think there is a genetic ceiling, but you will never reach it, because even if you add 10 grams to your frame per year, you still improve. Is it going to slow down? Yeah, it is going to slow down exponentially, drastically, or however you want to call it, but you are still going to gain some form of muscle or some size of a muscle every year if you are training consistently hard. So watch these 2 videos next, like, subscribe, hit the bell. For coaching, hit the link in the description. Talk to you soon.